House will come to order. Members will be in their seats. Clerk has opened the roll, and you may record your presence. Please rise and give your attention to our guest chaplain, Representative Lynn, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Representative Susan Ruiz.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for your faithfulness in helping us this week. You have watched over us, protected us, guided us, and enabled us to accomplish much. Continue to lead us with your Spirit. Watch over us this weekend as many travel back home. May we have quality time with families and come back ready for the new tasks of the new week. And in honor of St. Patrick's Day, I'd like to give you this blessing. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. The rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Amen.
Has every member had an opportunity to record their presence? Clerk will close the roll and record the attendance. Speaker recognizes Representative Helmer on a point of personal privilege.
Mr. Speaker, distinguished guests and House of Representatives, I would like to introduce Carly Collins, a junior at Mulvane High School, Mulvane, Kansas. Her mother, Lacey Shields Collins, is in the audience taking pictures. I would like to honor Carly today because of her work and honors she has achieved in FFA and 4-H. Her achievements are as follows. Carly Collins is a junior at Mulvane High School, an active member of Sedgwick County 4-H, receiving championship awards with her livestock and showmanship through her 10 years of competition and raising show livestock. She is very active in citizenship through 4-H and FFA, receiving the Kansas Award for Citizenship for Sedgwick County for 5 consecutive years. Carly currently serves as the president of the Peck Ramblers 4-H Club, and she is the junior leader for the Meat Goat Project. She also resides on the Livestock Sale Committee for the Sedgwick County Fair and shows all 4 species at county level and shows sheep at state level. In FFA, she is just as active with judging competitions from meat judging to agricultural mechanics. Carly recently placed 10th overall in districts for her speech presentation on agriculture. She currently serves as the secretary of the Mulvane FFA chapter and was recently elected vice president of the chapter for the upcoming year. She has a true passion for helping others improve their skills and gain knowledge of agriculture. Her plan to continue education will be attending Cowley County Community College on a livestock judging scholarship, and then to move to K-State to complete her degree in agriculture education, which will include a welding degree. She was awarded 3 Kansas titles at the Midwest Miss United States Agriculture Pageant in December of 2021. She is the current 2022 Kansas Teen Miss United States Agriculture Queen, overall 2022 Kansas People's Choice, and overall 2022 Kansas Agriculture Advocate. This pageant's motto is to teach, inspire, and advocate for agriculture. When Carly thinks of what agriculture advocacy means to her, the first word that comes to mind is education. Carly believes agriculture is truly an industry, open to countless opportunities to learn from. With agriculture, we must never stop educating ourselves and others. There is more involved in this industry than most could ever imagine. From what we put into our soil, the crops we grow to consume, the livestock that consumes the grain, and the meat that we consume. As consumers, we have the right to know what's in our food and the ration that we are feeding to our livestock. It is very important to understand how to read a nutrition label on the food we purchase. Having this knowledge will help us better understand what we are consuming from the end product. There will always be additives to preserve our food. It is crucial to understand what the food and what the bad preservatives are. This education can help us prevent diseases such as diabetes and cancer. Carly's passion for agriculture continues to grow. She is thankful to be part of the Mulvane FFA chapter and the doors that are opening because of it. The depth of this industry truly has her attention, and she wants to give back to others as much as possible. This is truly, she strives to become an agriculture teacher. Through teaching others about agriculture, she still has the opportunity to continue to grow her knowledge as well. As more people receive education about the healthy foundation of growing crops and livestock, they will continue to pass this on to future generations. For all of these reasons, she chooses to teach, to inspire, and to advocate for agriculture. On behalf of the House of Representatives, I congratulate Carly and her family and look forward to the progress and achievements of her continuing education and career. Mr. Speaker, I ask that my words be spread across the journal.
Without objection, so ordered. Introduction of bills and concurrent resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill number 2741 by the Committee on Appropriations, an act concerning children and minors relating to cities and counties, establishing city and county child death review boards, permitting and requiring disclosure of records. House Bill number 2742 by the Committee on Appropriations, an act concerning retirement and pensions relating to the Kansas Public Employees Retirement System and systems thereunder, providing a post-retirement dividend payment to certain retirants, making concerning appropriations for fiscal year ending June 30, 2023 for the Kansas Public Employees Retirement System.
Messages from the Senate. The clerk will read.
Announcing passage of Substitute for Senate Bill 444. Substitute for Senate Bill number 444 by the Committee on Ways and Means, an act making concerning appropriations for the fiscal years ending June 30, 2022, 23, 24, 25, and 26 and 27 for state agencies, authorizing certain transfers, capital improvement projects, and fees, imposing certain restrictions, limitations, directing or authorizing certain receipts, disbursements, procedures, and acts incidental to the foregoing.
Introduction of original motions and House resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Resolution number 6025 by Representatives Riley, Bergkamp, and others, a resolution commemorating the celebration of St. Patrick's Day.
On H.R. 6025, the chair recognizes Representative Riley for a motion to adopt the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Pro Tem. I bring forward today House Resolution 6025, celebrating St. Patrick's Day today, March 17th. On this day, we applaud the mutual fostering and strengthening of the longstanding relationship between the United States and Ireland. I had 25 co-sponsors to this. If anyone would like to come forward just for a minute. That was co-sponsors. I appreciate it. All right. Mr. Pro Tem, I would like to, as folks are coming forward, to say that I did get a green box from Senator Mark Daly, the head of the Senate in Ireland. And since I had 25 co-sponsors to this, he sent to us certificates. I'm going to pass out one of these to each one of the folks that are co-sponsors. And in the box, he sent with him a bunch of pins from Ireland. And so I've got 25 pins to just send down the line here. If there's some left over, let me. One more pin? I got it. Okay. All right. You want a pin? They need some more down here. More pins? So he did send me about 10 or so more. So if you are celebrating the green today, I do have some more of these pins back on my box back there. If you didn't want to come up and get your picture taken by Mariah back there. So I do appreciate everyone that helped co-sponsor this bill. I'll continue reading a little bit more about the relationship between Ireland and the United States. So Kansas-Irish roots date back to the mid-1800s in Kansas, when Irish immigrants first settled in Kansas City before venturing more west into Kansas. These settlers brought their customs across the Atlantic Ocean as well, including music, dance, food, and yes, St. Patrick's Day. We are familiar with the Celtic songs and dance. We know of familiar Irish foods such as Guinness, potatoes, Irish stew, cabbage, corned beef. But did you know it was an Irish botanist, Sir Hans Sloane, that invented chocolate milk? Today, the Celtic culture continues to be a proud tradition here in the United States. Mr. Pro Tem, I would like to move my resolution 6025 and have my words spread across the journal.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted. Is there objection to the spreading of the remarks across the journal? Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Final action on bills and concurrent resolutions. Members will be in their seats on final action. See, we're moving a little slow this morning. Representative Hubert, members will be in their seats on final action. The clerk will read.
House Bill number 2528 by the Committee on Federal and State Affairs, an act concerning amusement rides relating to the Kansas Amusement Ride Act, definitions exempting inflatable devices from certain requirements of the act.
This constitutes final action on House Bill 2528. The clerk will open the roll. You may record your vote. I'll vote aye. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? Clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Representative Ballard votes no. Are there any further changes of vote? Seeing none, 86 having voted in favor and 34 against the passage of House Bill 2528, same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. Final action, the clerk will read.
Senate Bill number 335 by the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance, an act concerning insurance relating to accident and health insurance, exempting certain qualified trade, merchant, retail, and professional associations and business leagues that provide health insurance in the state but that are not subject to the jurisdiction of the Commissioner of Insurance from payment of the annual premium tax.
This constitutes final action on Senate Bill 335. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? Clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Seeing none, 120 having voted in favor and 0 against the passage of Senate Bill 335, the same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. Final action, the clerk will read.
Senate Bill number 348 by the Committee on Public Health and Welfare, an act concerning public health relating to cosmetology, hair removal, exempting persons engaged in threading from the practice of cosmetology and the requirements thereof.
This constitutes final action on Senate Bill 348. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? Clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Representative Donahoe votes aye. Are there any further changes of vote? Seeing none, 110 having voted in favor and 10 against the passage of Senate Bill 348, the same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. Final action, the clerk will read.
Okay. Senate Bill number 392 by the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance, an act concerning securities relating to Securities Act fee fund, terminating the transfer of remaining unencumbered monies in such fund exceeding $50,000 to the State General Fund.
This constitutes final action on Senate Bill 392. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? The clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Representative Carlson votes aye. Any further changes of vote? Seeing none, 120 having voted in favor and 0 against the passage of Senate Bill 392, the same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. Clerk will record the vote. Changes of reference. Senate Bill 84 is withdrawn from the Committee of the Whole and referred to the Committee on Federal and State Affairs. Senate Bill 181 is withdrawn from the Committee of the Whole and referred to the Committee on Federal and State Affairs. Speaker recognizes Majority Leader Hawkins for a motion to resolve into the Committee of the Whole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move the House resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for the purpose of considering those items under the heading of General Orders.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Speaker appoints Representative Otarwater to chair the Committee of the Whole.
Okay, top of the morning to you. Shlante, happy St. Patrick's Day. Let's get rolling. First item of business is HB 2712. For the purposes of carrying HB 2712, the Chair recognizes Representative Estes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a second, Mr. Chair. There were no amendments. Thank you. I'm carrying this bill today because I love our country. Our country has meant so much to my family since it's St. Patrick's Day. I'll talk about an Irish great grandfather who was burned out of his house by Cornwallis. I'll talk about my Cuban grandfather. My dad was born in Havana, Cuba, and when he was young, my grandfather made a difficult decision, and that was to come to America. And he came during World War II. He became a U.S. citizen knowing that he would be subject to the draft. And he felt good about that decision because he was very, very passionate about the opportunities that America has. I am very thankful for our history, so I am excited to talk about HB 2712. This establishes a commission that helps to celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country. And to me, I think back to my childhood in celebrating the bicentennial. I learned about our institutions. I learned to love our important symbols, and one that means the most to me is the White House, because I think that's a symbol that tells our story and it leads us towards our best aspirations. When you think about the beginning of the White House being built in part by slave labor, and you move forward in time to the Civil War, when not only were Union soldiers stationed inside, but also outside of the White House, to moving forward to President Obama, and that we've had an African-American president. I think that's an incredible journey that relates to that one symbol of our country. And I think that's part of why it's important to celebrate our history. So I'll tell you a little bit about what the bill does. It sets up a commission that represents a lot of different folks and includes some of our commerce aspects and some of our heroes from wars and are those with a great knowledge of history. They will hold public hearings around the state of Kansas and work with the National Commission to establish what Kansas will do to celebrate. And by the way, Kansas has a really high bar. In 1976, we were recognized at a national level for the All-American Indian Center, and our state fair was also recognized as doing an outstanding job. I also would like to just mention something about the fiscal note. If you looked at the original fiscal note, you saw a number that has been reduced because the bill does require that a website be posted that that shows all the records and the activities that the commission is planning. But the bill doesn't require that Commerce hold it. And part of the commission's job will be to raise money. They did an outstanding job of that in 1976, and I suspect that whoever the new commission will be will hope to exceed that. And so that number should be reduced down to 81,000. But I'd also like to point out that the fiscal note does not consider the economic impact, and that the bill is very intentional to make sure that we do our best to promote Kansas products and our economy. On page 3 of the bill, going over to page 4, part of the commission's duty will be to project the number of jobs and economic impact that we have. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'll be happy to stand for questions.
Does any member desire to speak to the bill? Chair recognizes Representative Carlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Estes did a wonderful job of explaining the value of this bill. I have been working on it with her for the last 2 years. We had to send it back and change some things, but it is going to create celebrations all throughout the country and all throughout every county in the state of Kansas to celebrate our 250th year. And I urge you to support it and to take it home to your communities and say, you know, hey, let's get behind this. Let's make our county shine. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Is there further discussion? If there's no further discussion, Representative Estes, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the previous speaker. It's been a pleasure to work on this bill. There's a lot of people who've been excited to come together and share their great ideas. Mr. Chair, I move that when the committee rises and reports, it report HB 2712 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Estes to report HB 2712 favorably. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next order of business is Senate Bill 408. For purposes of carrying Senate Bill 408, the chair recognizes Representative Howerton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There were committee amendments, and I move the adoption of the committee report as amended.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes and the committee report is adopted.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 408 is meant to address the growing crime of package thefts from residential porches as more and more people rely on delivery services for shopping. Research shows us that between March and July of 2020, 1 in 5 Americans reported a stolen package. Also concerning is citizens are now receiving their prescriptions on their front porches. Right now, the general penalty for theft of property or services of the value of less than $1,500 is a Class A non-person misdemeanor. This bill does not change the penalties for single theft already provided for in current law. It does address those who escape serious consequences by each case remaining a misdemeanor when acts are repeated in short periods of time. So Senate Bill 408 increases the criminal penalties for multiple thefts of mail. The bill amends KSA 215801, the theft statute, to provide that theft of property that is mail of a value of less than $1,500 from 3 separate locations within a period of 72 hours as part of the same act or transaction, or in 2 or more acts or transactions connected together, or constituting parts of common scheme or course of conduct, is going to be a severity level 9 non-person felony. The bill defines mail as a letter postal card, package, or bag sent through the United States Post Service or other delivery service, or any other article or thing contained therein. With that, I stand for questions.
Does any member desire to speak to the bill? Chair recognizes Representative Heiberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I usually don't support bills like this that raise criminal penalties because there's generally never any evidence that the increased penalty leads to any better result in terms of public safety. In this case, however, there was testimony that the similar shoplifting bill we passed a couple of years ago that made a felony for multiple attempts at shoplifting actually has cut down the incidence of shoplifting. So for that reason, and because this is a growing problem that's of concern to most of our constituents, I will support the bill this time. I would point out, though, that under the bill, 3 very small thefts amounting to like 3 $20 packages could be $60. That's potential. That would be a felony if committed under the terms of this act. So if that concerns you, I'm not going to try to convince you to vote for the bill because I think that's a legitimate concern, but I will be supporting it.
Is there further discussion? If there's no further discussion, Representative Howerton, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports Senate Bill 408 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Howerton to report SB 408 favorably. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion passes. The next item of business is Senate Bill 400. For the purpose of carrying Senate Bill 400, the chair recognizes Representative Wassinger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate Bill 400 changes the trust code of Kansas. It's necessary because the trust code has not been changed since 2002, and it does 3 vital things. The first one is it allows for non-judicial settlement agreements that are signed by the trustee and the other members of the trust. This way they don't have to go to court to change things. The level for that has been moved from $100,000 to $250,000 as well. But this allows people to get things taken care of without spending money within the courts. The $100,000 to $250,000 is to raise the level of trust where the trustee can dissolve the trust if it's not uneconomical. So this makes it a lot easier to get things done. They still need the beneficiaries to sign things so that they know that this is being dissolved. The most important part of this bill is to amend the definition of resident trust. Currently, the rules say that if you draw up a trust in Kansas and say you move to Idaho and you die in Idaho, you would have to file tax information for Idaho as well as Kansas. This law would allow it to just stay in Kansas, and that means less money spent and less court involvement. With that, I will stand for questions.
Does any member desire to speak to the bill? Chair recognizes Representative Hsu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The carrier did a great job speaking to the bill. I fully support it and urge you to vote yes. Thank you.
Further discussion, Chair recognizes Representative Kuther.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
This is just dealing with bankers. You didn't have any professors or
No. It passed unanimously in the Senate, and it was agreed to by the Kansas Bankers, the Kansas Bar Association, as well as the Midwest Trust Organization.
Okay, the Bar Association is neutral, but
they all looked at it and made sure that they were happy with this bill.
okay, all right.
Everyone is taken care of.
Okay, thank you very much.
And it's not normal that everyone agrees all the time, right?
Wrong.
Is there further discussion? If there's no further discussion, Representative Vossinger, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports Senate Bill 400 favorably for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Vossinger to report SB 400 favorably. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. The next item of business is Senate Bill 366. For the purpose of carrying Senate Bill 366, Chair recognizes Representative Eric Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There were committee amendments. I move adoption of the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, no. Motion passes and the committee report is adopted. Please continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. SB 366, another piece of legislation that deals with criminal statutes. This one deals with burglary. Basically, we're making one change within the statute, and that change is we're adding that it is burglary to access without authority a locked area within another facility. The reason why this was needed is because the current statute language requires that an individual enter a dwelling, a non-dwelling, a structure without authority in order to satisfy the elements of burglary. You run into a problem when an individual actually can enter a facility, a dwelling, a structure with authority, but then enter into an area within that's also secured and they're not supposed to enter. And this has come up in a case where an individual went into a church with authority, just like any other public member, but entered a locked area within the church. And so therefore, it muddled the idea that this was a burglary. So simply, we added language that says all other issues under burglary stay the same, but we're adding that they also cannot enter a secured area within a facility, otherwise having authority to enter. And I'll stand for questions.
Does any member desire to speak to the bill? Chair recognizes Representative Heiberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think this bill comes to us as a sort of a court decision. And I'm going to just stand up for the court for a second. The criminal courts in the state are required to construe our criminal statutes strictly in favor of the defendant. And so what I think happened is that a clever lawyer found this loophole in the statute, made the argument, and the court really was bound to find this way. But I think what the bill does, it restores burglary statute to what most people's common understanding of it is. So I support it, and I encourage you to do that as well.
Is there further discussion? If there's no further discussion, Representative Smith, you may close.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that when the committee rises and reports, it reports SB 366 favorable for passage.
You've heard the motion by Representative Smith to report Senate Bill 366 favorably. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Unfortunately, this concludes our general orders today. The chair recognizes the majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move we rise and report.
You've heard the motion to rise and report. All in favor, aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The motion passes.
Clerk will read the committee report.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee of the Whole recommends House Bill 2712 and subsequent Senate Bill 400 be passed. Senate Bills 408 and 366 be passed as amended.
Speaker recognizes Representative Tarwater for a motion to adopt the committee report.
I move that we adopt the committee report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. Speaker recognizes Representative Hawkins for a motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Pursuant to House Rule 2311, I move that an emergency be declared and that House Bill 2712, Senate Bill 408, substitute Senate Bill 400, and Senate Bill 366 be advanced to that order of business, final action on bills and concurrent resolutions.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion passes. Final action on bills and concurrent resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill number 2712 by the Committee on Appropriations, an act establishing the Kansas Commission for the United States semiquincentennial as part of the Department of Commerce, prescribing commission membership, responsibilities, meetings, and expiration, creating the Kansas Commission for the United States Semiquincentennial Gifts and Donations Fund.
I have to read as the bill number. This constitutes final action on House Bill 2712. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? Clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Representative Thompson? Votes aye. Are there any further changes of vote? Seeing none, 119 having voted in favor and 1 against the passage of House Bill 2712, the same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. Final action, clerk will read.
Senate Bill number 408 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure relating to theft, increasing criminal penalties for multiple thefts of mail.
This constitutes final action on Senate Bill 408. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? Clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Representative Arnberger on an explanation of vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I vote yes on Senate Bill 408. My husband and I have unfortunately experienced some porch pirates in our area. Some members of this body have even sent us gifts and we did not get them during our wedding. So with that, I vote aye.
Are there any further explanations of vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Representative Carlin votes aye. Any further changes of vote? Seeing none, 117 having voted in favor and 3 against the passage of Senate Bill 408, same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. Final action, the clerk will read.
Substitute Senate Bill number 400 by the Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance, an act concerning trusts relating to the creation, modification, and termination thereof, adding to the list of matters that may be resolved by non-judicial settlement agreements, increasing the threshold at which an uneconomic trust may be terminated, updating the definition of resident trust.
This constitutes final action on Senate Bill 400. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? The clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Does any member desire to change his or her vote? Seeing none, 120 having voted in favor and 0 against the passage of Senate Bill 400, the same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. Final action. Clerk will read.
Subsuper Note, Senate Bill 366 by the Committee on Judiciary, an act concerning crimes, punishment, and criminal procedure relating to burglary, locked or secured portions of dwellings, buildings, or other structures.
This constitutes final action on Senate Bill 366. The clerk will open the roll and you may record your vote. Has every member had an opportunity to record their vote? The clerk will close the roll. Does any member desire to explain his or her vote? Any member desire to change his or her vote? Representative Barker votes aye. Any further changes of vote? Seeing none, 120 having voted in favor and 0 against the passage of Senate Bill 366, the same having received a constitutional majority, the bill is hereby declared passed. The clerk will record the vote. Reports of standing committees, the clerk will read.
Committee on Federal and State Affairs recommends House Bill 2502 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Federal and State Affairs recommends Senate Bill 479 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Federal and State Affairs recommends substitute Senate Bill 34 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Judiciary recommends House Bill 2736 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Judiciary recommends Senate Bill 419 be passed. Committee on K-12 Education Budget recommends House Bill 2662 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on K-12 Education Budget recommends House Bill 2615 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunication recommends Senate Bill 19 be amended by substituting a new bill to be designated as House Substitute for Senate Bill number 19 as follows. An act concerning public health relating to the 988 Suicide Prevention and Mental Health Crisis Hotline, implementing such hotline in Kansas, authorizing the Kansas Department for Aging and Disability Services to provide oversight and support to the Kansas Hotline Centers, prescribing hotline center duties for provision of services, duties for telecommunication service providers, and the substitute bill be passed. Committee on Education recommends House Bill 2631 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Taxation recommends House Bill 2711 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Education recommends Senate Bill 215 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Children and Seniors recommends House Bill 2700 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Veterans and Military recommends Senate Bill 330 be passed. Committee on Insurance recommends Senate Bill 377 be amended, and the bill be passed as amended. Committee on Insurance and Pensions recommends substitute for Senate Bill 450 be passed. Committee on K-12 Education Budget recommends House Bill 2512 be amended and be amended as recommended by the House K-12 Education Budget as reported in the Journal of the House on February 17, 2022, and the bill as printed as substitute for House Bill 2712 be further amended by substituting a new bill to be designated as substitute for House Bill number 2512 as follows. An act concerning education, making and concerning appropriations for fiscal years ending June 30, 2022, June 30, 2023, and June 30, 2024 for State Department of Education, establishing the legislature's intention to focus on academic achievement, enacting the Every Child Can Read Act to support literacy proficiency to third grade, authorizing the State Board of Education school districts to allow students to earn course credit through alternative educational opportunities outside the traditional classroom, making members of or persons employed by the Kansas State High School Activities Association mandatory reporters of child abuse and neglect, requiring the Board of Education of each school district to consider the district building needs assessment and state academic assessments when approving the budget of a school district, and the substitute bill be passed. Committee on Agriculture recommends Senate Bill 261 be amended by substituting a new bill to be designated as House Substitute for Senate Bill number 261 as follows: an act concerning agriculture relating to the labeling of certain foods, prohibiting the use of identifiable meat terms on labels of meat analogs without use of proper qualifying language, and the substitute bill be passed. Committee on Taxation recommends House Bill 2732 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Agriculture recommends Senate Bill 346 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development recommends Senate Bill 493 be amended. The bill be passed as amended. Committee on Insurance and Pensions recommends substitute for Senate Bill 450 be passed. Committee on Calendar and Printing recommends on requests for resolutions and certificates that requests by Representatives Wheeler, Schmidt, Rogers, and Ellis be approved, and the Chief Clerk of the House be directed to order the printing of said certificates and the drafting of said resolutions.
Speaker recognizes the Majority Leader for a motion to adopt the calendar and printing report.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I move adoption of the calendar and printing report.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes appear to have it. Ayes do have it. Motion carries. Announcements. We have some trades today. Representative Brad Ralph will replace Representative Susan Kincannon on the House Appropriations Committee for today, March 17th only. Representative Adam Thomas will replace Representative Chris Croft on the House Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development Committee today, March 17th only. Representative Dan Osman will replace Representative Tom Burrows on the House Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development Committee on Thursday, March 17th for this day only. Representative Marilyn Poskin will replace Representative Tom Burrows on the House Appropriations Committee on Thursday, March 17th for this day only. Representative John Carmichael will replace Representative Jason Probst on the House Commerce, Labor, and Economic Development Committee on Thursday, March 17th for this day only. Are there further announcements? Representative Ballard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For Democrats, we do have Thursday Summit today. It's in our Agenda Room 152 South. Our guest will be Speaker Howard, and there will be lunch provided, and I will also try and get a WebEx link. Thank you so much.
Representative Moser.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Rural Caucus will be happening in room 159 South immediately following conclusion here. Kansas Food and Farm Coalition will be presenting and providing lunch, and we'll also have an update on House Bill 2530. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Long.
Just a reminder, Joint Building Committee will meet today at noon.
Representative Schreiber.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know you're all waiting for this announcement, but the shrimp peel is back on April 25th, first day back from veto session. I know there's several folks here that have not experienced the shrimp peel before, but it's a fundraiser for Kansas Special Olympics. And there'll be more announcements as we go along next week and the following week, but we're very fortunate to have the State House lobbyists. They help sponsor this, and by their sponsorships, it allows all the money we raise through the live and silent auction to go to Kansas Special Olympics. Usually in the past, we've raised around $20,000, plus or minus a little bit, depending on the year. So what I need to ask each of you to think about here and over the next couple of weeks before first adjournment is to find an auction item for either a silent auction or live auction or both. Maybe something unique in your community or something you have a special interest in, and bring that to my office, 149 South, and we'll hold those because, of course, we'll be gone most of April, and we'll have that set up then on April 25th at Shrimp Peel, which is down by the old Capitol Plaza Hotel area. But there'll be more announcements, but start thinking about that as you go home this weekend, what items you would want to bring back. And it's from those auctions, the silent and the live auction, that money is raised goes to Kansas Special Olympics. So thank you for your attention on that, and look forward to April 25th. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Waymaster batting, Keith are on deck, Woodard in the hole.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Reminder for the Appropriations Committee, we're going to be resuming discussion in regards to the budget in 112 North at 2 p.m. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Keither.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. I'm announcing this for some of us who have been in this chamber a long time, and also for the benefit of the lobbyists that may be paying attention. Former colleague, Representative Von Flora, passed away this morning, and I just wanted to let people know who served with him and maybe worked with him along his service to know that. Nothing has been decided yet about a ceremony, but I just wanted to let people know. Thank you.
Representative Woodard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Democrats, we will have agenda on Monday morning at 9 a.m. in 152 South, 9 a.m. on Monday, 152 South. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Representative Penn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The GOP Freshen Caucus has had its last meeting, but we would like to announce a very, very happy birthday to the good representative from Wheaton, Kansas, who is currently seated in seat number 100. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Representative Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was pleased to hear the representative from Lyon County announce that the shrimp peel is returning. In the past, there have been some auxiliary events that ran parallel to the shrimp peel itself. Those of you that were here a few years ago may remember that I got suckered into a losing wager. There was this punk from Newton, Kansas, North Newton, in fact, who said he was a track star. So I offered up my own funds and challenged the representative from the other side of the aisle, who's no longer in the body. Lo and behold, did I not know he was such a ringer. I forget the TV show that he was on. He was on a TV show, that's how good he was. And so they had this race, and my boy got whipped pretty bad, and I lost my shirt. I'm going to earn my money back this year because I've got a sure bet this year. Details will follow. But apparently there is some punk on this side of the aisle that thinks he can out-eat my leader. Now, this year, I'm not relying on his claim that he's a great eater. I know that he is. My fellow representative from Topeka called me this summer. He was out at a conference in Salt Lake City, and he had a friend from across the country who called and said, I met this guy from Wichita. Is he okay? The representative from Topeka said, yeah, he's a good guy. And he said, well, we're going out to dinner with him tomorrow night. Well, that fellow called the representative from Topeka the next day, and he said, man, that boy can eat. He has a national reputation for his ability to eat. He looks for those billboards that says 72-ounce steak, you get it free. So, here's the deal. I'm going to get my money back this year. I am going to personally pledge for a worthy cause, and certainly the Special Olympics is, I will personally match Anybody over here that wants to put their money on their guy, because I cannot lose. More to come.
I'm sure the good representative meant that money would be donated to charity. Are there any further announcements? Seeing none, Speaker recognizes Majority Leader Hawkins.
I have a lot more mundane things to say than our good friend on this side. I want to talk to the body real quick about next week because most of you won't be here tomorrow. We will start at 10 o'clock on Monday. Republicans, we will calendar at 8:30, and then we'll gavel in at 10 o'clock. It should be a full day, so plan on being here all day, and then Tuesday should be a good-sized day also. So with that, Mr. Speaker, hold on. Redistricting will meet in the old Supreme Court room at 12:30 today. Redistricting, 12:30, old Supreme Court room. Mr. Speaker, I move the House adjourn until Friday, March 18th at 9 a.m. pro forma.
Heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The House is adjourned.